नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टाप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरि ओम तत्सत्। For joining, if someone can share. Chapter 15, verse number 1. Maitreya Uvacha Prajapatyam tu tatteja paratejohanam ditihi dadara varshani satam sankamana surabdhana. Maitreya Uvacha Prajapatyam tu tatteja paratejohanam ditihi dadara varshani satam sankamana surabdhana. Maitreya Vacha Prajapatyam tu tatteja paratejo hanam diti dadara varshani satam sankamana surardhana. Word to word. Maitreya Vacha, the sage Maitreya said, Prajapatyam, of the great Prajapati, tu, but, tat teja, a powerful seaman, parateja, others, prowess, hanam, troubling, Diti, Kasyapa's wife, Dadara, bore, Varshani, years, Satam, 100, Shankamana, being doubtful, Sura Ardhana, disturbing to the demigods. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, Diti, the wife of the sage Kashyapa, could understand that the sons within her womb would be a cause of disturbance to the demigods. As such, she continuously bore the powerful semen of Kashyap Muni, which was meant to give trouble to others, for 100 years. Sri Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, Diti, the wife of the sage Kashyapa, could understand that the sons within her womb could be a cause of disturbance to the demigods. As such, she continuously bore the powerful semen of Kashyap Muni, which was meant to give trouble to others, for 100 years. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. The great sage Sri Maitreya was explaining to Vidura the activities of the demigods, including Lord Brahma. When Diti heard from her husband that the sons she bore within her abdomen would be the causes of disturbances to the demigod, she was not very happy. There are two classes of men, devotees and non-devotees. Non-devotees are called demons and devotees are called demigods. No sane man or woman can tolerate the non-devotees giving trouble to devotees. Diti, therefore, was reluctant to give birth to her babies. She waited for 100 years so that at least she could save the demigods from the disturbance for that period. Try to understand from the Acharyas. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkrupa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurum Denatarin Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Mera Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamiham Dadati Swapadantikam. Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. So in this 3:15 one, we'll try to understand the section, how this chapter is laid out. Then we'll try to understand the last line is very important, significant, how it applies, what it means, some of the reflections and the instructions. So, in the context. So, context here is Vidura is asking the question in the chapter 14, in question number 24, question 2 to 4, where the Vidura Maharaj is mentioning great Mahajana. Heard by disciplic succession, Hiranyaksha, original demon, was slain by the same Lord. What was the reason for the fight between demon king and Lord Boar? While the Lord was lifting the earth, I'm not satisfied. Please speak more and more to a devotee who is faithful. So 14 ended, but there is no question again. Further, Vidura is asking, but here Maitreya Muni responds because still that is not completed what he asked. So that's why further it is continued. Kingdom of God, because the beautiful description has been given of the Vaikuntha planets. And this is not the first time. Already in the previous canto, we'll try to see that. So this chapter, Kingdom of God, is laid out. These are, one must tax the brain. When we are reading the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, tax the brain, try to reflect what exactly these verses are talking about, what Lord Krishna is trying to tell us, so that it helps us to focus more on reflection, remembrance, meditation, contemplation, recollection, absorption. This is very important aspect. So that's why we must try to do, not somebody has given. The sections which I mentioned before, few classes also, these are my own reflections and thoughts. So 1 to 2, disturbance to the demigods, cause of disturbance, cause of darkness. That is the significance of this very important point. 3 to 10 is the second section, demigods prayer to Lord Brahma, reinstating the work, dispelling the darkness. 11 to 23 is third section, Lord Brahma's description of four Kumaras, entrance into Vaikuntha and description of Vaikuntha planets and its residents. 24 to 25 is the importance of human form of life. 26 to 29 is four Kumaras crossing the seven doors of Vaikuntha planets. And 30 to 33 is obstructing the progress of devotee. Very important section. Obstructing the progress of a devotee or devotees or seed of fear or disharmony in duality. So it's there everywhere in this world, even in the spiritual organizations also. It's a question of what we are bringing, what consciousness we are carrying. So 34 to 36, punishment or curse or anxiety of doorkeepers from curse and repentance. 37 to 45 is the description of the beauty of Lord of Vaikuntha. And then the last one is 46 to 50 is four Kumaras. So in this way, this chapter is laid out. We'll try to see the first instructions. The last line, if you read, here it is mentioned, Diti bore this pregnancy for 100 years. We'll try to cover some of the examples. So we have to have strong faith on Shastra, Guru, and Supreme Lord, Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru, and Supreme Lord. Otherwise, it's very difficult to progress in devotion service. So that's what the last line is. Sankamana Sura Ardhana. Sankamana means doubtful. One who is doubtful. And second one is Ardhana, disturbing the demigods. She's thinking, it will give disturbance to demigods. She was very much reluctant. So that's why she bore for 100 years. So what does the reflection is also another way. We should avoid criticizing the devotee. We should avoid discussing about devotees matters, especially in negative way. So sandeha and samalochana. These two things we must avoid. Sandeha means doubts. One must not be doubtful of the spiritual master, doubtful of Shastra, doubtful of the Supreme Lord. So that's why Krishna is mentioning. One who doesn't have proper faith is doubting. So Asraddhadhana Purusha Dharmasya Parantava Aprapya Mam Navartante Mrityu Samsara Vartamani. Most confidential knowledge, 9.3, Lord Krishna is mentioning. One who doesn't have proper faith, Asraddhadhana, then he will never be able to attain me. Rather, he will be go into the downward planets. Mrityu Samsara Vartamani, birth, death, old age, he will be continuing in this process of life. birth, old age, disease, life after life, because faith is very much required. So Prabhupada is stressing that in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita itself. So that's why sadhu and shastra and guru, one must have faith. So that is the first and foremost on that elaborate instructions. And if you go back to the previous verse where Prahlad Maharaj has been glorified in the almost I think around 24th verse or so, how Prahlad Maharaj became a fixed up devotee because completely has dedicated, he used everything in the service of the Lord. So, and there Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning how he has used, especially chanting and hearing, where it is mentioned 3:14:48 verse, I'm specifically quoting. प्रवृद्ध भक्त्या हि अनुभाविताश्रये निवेश्य वैकुंठम इमं विहास्यति due to mature devotion service. Very important point. Mature devotion, pravruddha bhakti. How we can get it? You will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world. And the purport, you see the Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj would constantly meditate on the Lord and reiterate his activities. Because he would constantly remain in meditation, he would easily transfer himself to the spiritual world after quitting his material body. Such, this is the last line is very important. Such meditation is still more conveniently performed by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. This is especially recommended in the age of Kali. So bhakti must be performed and it cannot be done without the association of the devotees. Even karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti also. Without bhakti, even it cannot yield results. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, bhakta vino kona sadhana dite nare phala, sava phala deye bhakti swatantra prabal. The other process cannot yield results unless they are associated with devotion service. Devotion service, however, is so strong and independent that it can give one all the desired results. Ajagalastana Nyaya, Anya Sadhana, Ataiva Hari Bhaje, Buddhiman Jana. With the exception of devotion service, all the methods of self realization are like the nipples on the neck of a goat. Therefore, an intelligent person adopts only devotion service, giving up all other processes of devotion service. Because otherwise, we will not be able to even relieve from the bondage. That's why one must. So, and Lord Brahma himself, how much we have to have faith and how much we have to concentrate on studying the Shastra and the association of devotees. Lord Brahma himself in the second canto, he himself is explaining his own. And Prabhupada is making a very important comments in the purports. Bhagavan Brahma Karsnena Trir Anviksha Manishaya Tad Adya Avasyat Kotasto Ratir Atmana Yato Bhave. The great personality Brahma, with great attention and concentration of the mind, studied the Vedas 3 times. After scrutinizingly examining them, he ascertained that attraction for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the highest perfection of religion. I say so. That is the Lord Himself is mentioning. I myself is appearing in the Sadhu and Shastra and Guru. Shastra and Guru and Paramatma. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is mentioning, so that we can understand how important it is to concentrate on hearing, reading Shastra, scrutinizing it. Prabhupada also stresses Shastra Guru Atma Rupe Apanare Janan Krishna Mora Prabhu Trata Jivera Hayagnan. The forgetful conditioned soul is educated by Krishna through the Vedic literature, the realized spiritual master and the super soul. Lord Krishna himself is expanding himself. Because Apaurushaya, that is why it is coming from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. This all the Shastra. And he is expanding as Guru and he is expanding as super soul. There shouldn't be any doubt on the Shastra. If Shastra says 100 years, Diti kept the semen in the womb, pregnancy, so there shouldn't be any doubt. So it is not an impossible thing. Further, now to understand this aspect of devotion service is performed in many different ways. So that's why sometimes people may be hearing, people may be chanting, people may be doing kirtan, but not really developing a taste. They're not really progressing. What is happening? So that we have to understand. That's why devotion service is also 81 ways. So that's why we have to read Shastra to understand why you cannot hear from anybody and everybody. So why Prabhupada said sometimes somebody is doing Maya Kirtan, even though he's devotee. Why? Because we have to understand what the constant, whom are we singing for? So all these points are made by Lord Kapil Dev. 329, 8, 9, 10, very important points are made. अभिसंधाय यो हिंसाम दंभम आत्सर्यम एव संभ्रम्भि भिन्न दृग्भावम मयि कुर्यात् स तामसा. Devotion service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, who is separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Worship of the deity in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is the devotion in the mode of passion. When a devotee worships Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the result of his activities in order to free himself from the inabilities of fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. Hmm? Here is a very important verse 329:10. Karma nirharam uddishya parasmin va tad arpanam ejet yatstavyam iti va pratak bhava sa satvika. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions, quoting Sridhar Swami commentary. Devotion service in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness can be divided into 81 categories. Now we understand. There are different devotional activities such as hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering prayer, rendering service, and surrendering everything. And each of them can be divided into three qualitative categories. There is a hearing in the mode of passion, in the mode of goodness, mode of ignorance. Similarly, there is chanting in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. 3 multiplied by 9 equal to 27. And when again multiplied by 3, it becomes 81. One has to transcend all such mixed materialistic devotion service in order to reach the standard of pure devotion service. Now, next two words is also important. This is all Lord Kapil Dev is instructing Mother Devahuti. Mad guna sluti matrena mai sarva guhase manogatir ravichhinna yata gangambaso ambudo. Lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya udahratam mahayituki avyavita ya bhakti purushottame. The manifestation of unadulterated devotion service is exhibited when one's mind is attracted to hearing transcendental name and qualities of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart, just as the water of the Gangas flows naturally down towards the ocean. Such devotion ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. So the basic principle of this unadulterated pure devotion service is love of Godhead. Mat guna sruti matrena means just after hearing about transcendental qualities of Supreme Personality of Godhead. These qualities are called nirguna. Supreme Lord is uncontaminated by the modes of material. Therefore, he is attracted to the pure devotee. Avihita means without cessation. A pure devotee must engage in the service of the Lord 24 hours a day without cessation. His life is so molded that every minute, every second he engages in some sort of devotion service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another meaning of the word Avyavita is that the interest of the devotee and interest of the Supreme Lord are on the same level. The devotee has no interest but to fulfill the transcendental desire of the Supreme Lord. Such spontaneous service unto the Supreme Lord is transcendental or is never contaminated by material modes of nature. These are the symptoms of the pure devotion service. So we can understand where we stand. So we are not 24 by 7. We can understand. Now the important aspect is the most important in this in today's verse and class, Sandeha and Samalochana, and how to avoid what kind of hearing or what kind of chanting we are doing. So Tasmat Sarvatmana Rajan Hari Sarvatra Sarvada Srotavyasya Kirtitavyasya Smartavyasya Bhagavan Gunam. This is 236 verse. Prabhupada, very important purport. O King, it is therefore essential that every human being hear about, glorify, and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead always and everywhere. Sri Sukadeva Goswami begins this verse with Tasmat, therefore, because in the previous verse he has already explained that no auspicious means for salvation other than sublime process of Bhakti Yoga. The Bhakti Yoga is practiced by the devotees in different methods like hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, worshipping, praying, rendering service in love, becoming friendly, and offering all that one may possess. All 9 methods, important line, please pay attention. All 9 methods are bona fide methods, and either all of them, some of them, or even one of them can bring about the desired result of the sincere devotee. But, this is the most important, but out of all 9 different methods, the first one, namely hearing, is the most important function in the process of Bhakti Yoga. Without hearing sufficiently and properly, again, without hearing sufficiently and properly, no one can make any progress. No one can make any progress by any of the methods of practice. And for hearing only, all the Vedic literatures are there, compiled by authorized persons like Vyasadeva, who is the powerful incarnation of Godhead. And since it has been ascertained that the Lord is the super soul of everything, He should therefore be heard and glorified everywhere and always. That is the special duty of the human being. Very, very important point. That's why we may be hearing. That's the first class we discussed when we started this on the Zoom at the COVID time, 2, 3 years ago. First class in Nectar Mission, verse number 8. This is what we discussed. Sravana Dasha, Varana Dasha, Sampatti Dasha, Samadhi stages. That's why there should be absorption, recollection, contemplation. That's why hearing must be with rapt attention. That's why your Prabhupada is making that significant point. Why it is 90, 18 to 8, these many times, these many types of devotion service, because our hearing is not at the highest level. Our chanting is not at the highest level. That's why when we chant, we must hear. Sravanam and Kirtanam is the topmost. That's why you see, even when the tree or plant is growing, especially at the time of the flowers, sun must be super hot, and water also you must give a lot. It takes a lot of water, and it takes a lot of heat. That's why you see when it is too hot yesterday, flowers are blooming like anything. So when you put water in the evening or in the early morning before sun comes, then it takes, it grows nicely. Flowers will come out, even Tulsi Marani plants, you will see the birds will come suddenly in a single day. For many days it won't come, but because of that too much heat and too much, and you put sufficient water. So that's why Sravanam Kirtanam is the with proper attention, undivided attention one must give to the hearing. So that's why this is the process of Sri Prabhupada as given. That's why we have to pay attention when we read Shastra with proper faith and remember and reflect on those verses and apply, put in practice. Then only, otherwise it's very difficult to progress. We might be chanting and hearing for many lifetimes, but there may not be much progress because it is not really done with proper attention. So as Prabhupada is making that point. And then it must be done in the association of devotees. It's not that, oh, I will sit at home and I will read myself. No. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going, Krishna Bhakti Janma Mola Haya Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prema Janma Tena Puna Mukyanga. The root cause of devotion service to Lord Krishna is the association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still more essential, even at the highest stages. So that's it's very important that we, in the association of devotees, we hear, we read, we chant. So this is very important because that is inspiration, that enthusiasm, it helps us by the association. Mahat Kripa Vina Kona Karme Bhakti Anyaya. Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu Samsara Mahachai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further instructing Sanatana Goswami. Unless one is favored by a pure devotee, one cannot attain the platform of devotion. To say nothing of Krishna Bhakti, one cannot even be relieved from bondage of material existence. You can see that important one. We cannot even come out of the bondage if we don't have the mercy of a pure devotee. Mahat Kripa Vina. So, same thing is explained in Bharat Maharaj to Rahu Gana. He himself is quoting his own example. राहु गणात तपसा ना याति ना चा इज्जया निर्वापनात् गृहाद्वा ना चंदांस नैव जलाग्नि सूर्यैर विना महत्पादरजो अभिषेकम. O King Rahugana, without taking up one's head the dust from the lotus feet of pure devotee, Mahajana or Mahatma, one cannot attain devotion service. Devotion service is not possible to attain simply by undergoing severe austerities, penances, by gorgeously worshipping the deity, or by strictly following rules and regulations of sannyas or grihastha order. Nor it is attained by studying the Vedas, submerging oneself in water, or exposing oneself to fire or scorching sunlight. So this is in Jadabharta. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing Sanatana Goswami, quoting this example, and this is in 5:12:12. Jadabharta is instructing Rahu Gana how much it is important. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Prahlad Maharaj, and because Prahlad Maharaj is constantly thinking 24/7 and taking the association of devotees. He is giving his association. He is teaching us, and Dhruv Maharaj also. So that's why he has heard. Gadadhar Samukhe Pujen Bhagavata Suniye Prakash Prabhu Krishna Bhavayato Dhruvera Charitra Ara Prahlada Charitra Sata Vritti Korea Sunen Savahita. Again and again, Lord carefully listened to the stories about Dhruva and Prahlad that were read to him by Gadadhar Pandit from Srimad Bhagavatam. As the Lord sat before Gadadhar, he manifested so many moods of love for Krishna. So we can understand how. That's why six Ashtam is also every day we chant it. Prabhupada's process exactly we have to follow. Nothing. Then we definitely get, without a doubt. प्रभुर शिक्षाष्टक श्लोक यही पदे सुने Krishna Prema Bhakti Tare Bade Dine Dine. If anyone recites or hears these 8 verses of instruction by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his ecstatic love and devotion for Krishna increase day by day. That means we have to be with humble mood, but seriously pray to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Panchatattva. Then we can, by reading this Chaitanya, 8 verses, morning, afternoon, evening, remember it's like Samsara also, Guru and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this way, then we can, day by day, our ecstatic love and for Krishna and devotion for Krishna and Guru and Krishna will increase. Now, pregnancy of Diti has been described. So it is not the first time. Even before when the Diti was, this is after maybe the two examples are there. Before that, let's even look at even Sukadeva Goswami's own example. How many years he was there in the womb? 12 years. In some places it's 16 years, but Prabhupada's own purport you'll see in 9th canto. 12 years. He didn't want to come out. So it is possible. It is not that impossible. It is not something written fictitiously. So the 12 years Sukadeva Goswami is there. He didn't want to come out. Vyasadeva said, you will not be contaminated by 3 modes of material nature. Because he was in the family business, attracted to kids seemingly. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami, seeing his father, he didn't want it to come out. He gave assurance, but still he didn't take. He didn't take that assurance. Then Vyasadeva himself had to go to Dwarka. Prabhupada is mentioning this in the purport in 9th canto. Vyasadeva himself had to go to Dwarka, bring Lord Krishna personally. Then Lord Krishna has given assurance to Sukadeva Goswami. Then only he came out from the womb of mother. There also another thing is mentioned that there was also girl. There was another Sukadeva Goswami when Vyasadeva was very much aggrieved. Sukadeva Goswami immediately left home after 12 years as soon as he came out from the womb. He left home and then he was very much aggrieved. In Srimad Bhagavatam reading, I think, 4th chapter or so, you'll see that how Vyasadeva is aggrieved. Seemingly, it's not that he's contaminated with 3 modes. But then Sukadeva Goswami produced another replica of himself, Sukadeva Goswami. That description is there in 9th canto. Srimad Prabhupada is making that point, King Drupa. And then that Sukadeva Goswami married a daughter of another person. So then there is a succession of living entities also from there. So that we can understand, it's not that it's only one time it has happened. So 100 years. So Diti has pregnancy. You will see that also in 9 verses. The different details are there because we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Then we know we will have faith. In 9 islands, Jambudvipa, there are 7 islands. Like Jambudvipa, there are other islands. Within that Jambudvipa, there are 9 Varshas. Bharata Varsha is one of them. Total earthly planet, there are 7 islands. Jambudvipa. Within that, there are 9 Varshas. Within that Jambudvipa. Within that one Varsha is Bharata Varsha. There are other Varsha. Ketumala, Bharadvasa, there are other mentions. So in these places it is mentioned. So Prabhupada is making that point in the purport canto 5, structure of the universe. The people, the living entities who go to the heavenly planet enjoy and come down, where they will go? Not earthly planet directly. This is the heavenly planets on the earthly planet. Except the birth Varsha, the other 8 Varshas, how many people? They live for 10,000 years. 10,000 years within the earthly planet. 8 Varshas, not in the birth Varsha though. It is other. It is like almost like heavenly planets. They come down from once they finish their pious period from a heavenly planet, real heavenly planet, Swarloka, come down to this Bhuloka, but not in the other birth Varsha, but in the other Varshas, other 8 Varshas, Brahmic Varsha, Chetumal Varsha, there's so many Varshas mentioned. In that they live and they engage in union, but they will have only one time pregnancy. Last year. So these many years. So there is nothing is astonishing here. And the fruits and the it is mentioned some of the fruits are like elephant. So when they fall down, it creates a nice juices and rivers. People are getting the nice fragrance. Even the mango fruit, jumbo fruit, all these details are mentioned. One fruit is like a mountain. Mango fruit is like a mountain. So now everything must be understood through a Shastra. So Diti followed through. Diti had 100 years pregnancy even when these 49 Maruts Indra killed, went inside the womb because Kashyap Muni has given the blessing 100 years he can live. So 100 years she has to keep, and she performed this Savana sacrifice. This is explained in Padma Puran. 100 years she had kept in the womb. Even in the next, this Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were killed. Then she was very much angry, and then she wanted a son who can kill Indra. So then Kashyap Muni has given the blessing. Then 100 years, that time also, she kept the pregnancy. And then these 49 more, one living entity, but Indra killed all of them, had broken them, but still they couldn't be dead. He couldn't kill them because Kashyap Muni has given the blessing. So 49 Morus became exalted personalities. Time is up.
Aspect of devotional service of 81 categories. So, Canto 3, Chapter 29, verse number 10, we described earlier. Karma nirharam uddishya parasmin va tad arpanam ejed yastavyam iti va pratak bhava sa satvika. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inabilities of fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. There Srila Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning. Devotion service in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness can be divided into 81 categories. There are different devotional activities such as hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering prayer, rendering service, and surrendering everything. And each of them can be divided into three qualitative categories. There is hearing in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of goodness. Similarly, there is chanting in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. 3 multiplied by 9 equals to 27, and when again multiplied by 3, it becomes 81. One has to transcend all such mixed materialistic devotion service in order to reach that standard of pure devotion service. So, in this way, you can understand 81 categories of devotion service. So, one must try to come. That's why in Bhagavad Gita we see from Krishna is not giving the pure bhakti until 12th chapter. That's why one must first come understand karma, akarma, vikarma, the karma without binding, and then offering everything to Supreme Lord. Because most of us is in karmadikari stage. We are not 24 by 7 thinking of Supreme Lord. So gradually by offering our activities, executing in that way, by gradual practice of karma mishra bhakti, then we'll develop some knowledge and realizations, jnana mishra bhakti, then gradually we'll come to the pure bhakti. So then gradually from ignorance to passion, passion to goodness, we'll be fluctuating probably sometimes as we go through the day, through many years of practice. So at some point we have to come to mode of goodness and then visuddha sattva, pure goodness. Only desire is to please whatever activities we perform, just to please the Supreme Lord only for His pleasure, Guru and Supreme Lord's pleasure. That is the Anya Abhilashda Sunyam Dana Karmadi Anavrutam Anukulyena Krishna Anusiranam Bhakti Uttam. That is the Uttama Bhakti. But as of now, so devotees, those who perform devotional service, it could be of 81 categories because they are performing in 3 different modes. So one has to come to this Anya Abhilash Sunyam stage, which is the pure devotion stage. Then that will allow us to enter into the into the spiritual world. Or being here, completely our body becomes spiritualized. We can realize what's our Sarupa, our relation, what rasa we have, what form we have in the spiritual world. All those will be realized. So in that way we can understand.
So here in this verse, we're discussing Canto 3, chapter 15, verse number 1. Maitreya Vacha Prajapatyam Tutat Teja Paratejo Hanam Diti Dadara Varshani Satam Sankamana Suradhana. So doubts on the Shastra, a Guru, the Supreme Lord. One must not criticize or think negatively about the devotees. Sandeha and Samalochana, thinking badly or discussing about other devotees in a negative way. Very important instructions. So, and the womb, Diti had kept the pregnancy in the womb child for 100 years. And so, as I was explaining earlier, that in the Canto 9, chapter 21, verse number 25, Sukadeva Goswami is his own example. Lord is meant King Nipa begot a son named Brahadatta, Brahmadatta, through the womb of his wife Krithvi, who was the daughter of Sukha. So this is Sukha, daughter of Sukha is Rip. replica of original Sukadeva Goswami. And Brahmadatta, who was a great yogi, begot a son named Visvakshena through the womb of his wife Saraswati. The Sukha mentioned here is different from Sukadeva Goswami, who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami, son of Vyasadeva, is described in great detail in Brahma Bhagavata Purana. There it is said that Vyasadeva maintained the daughter of Jabali as his wife, and after that they performed penances together for many years. He placed his seed in her womb. The child remained in the womb of his mother for 12 years. When the father asked the son to come out, the son replied that he would not come out unless you are completely liberated from the influence of Maya. Vyasadeva then assured the child that he would not be influenced by Maya, but the child did not believe his father, for the father was still attached to his wife and children. Vyasadeva then went to Dwarka and informed the Supreme Personality of Godhead about his problem. And the personality of Godhead at Vyasadeva's request went to Vyasadeva's cottage, where he assured the child in the womb that he would not be influenced by Maya. Thus assured, the child came out, but he immediately went away as Parivrajakacharya. When the father very much agreed, began to follow his saintly boy, Sukadeva Goswami, the boy created duplicate Sukadeva, who later entered the family life. Therefore, Sukha Kanya, or daughter of Sukadeva, mentioned in this verse is the daughter of the duplicate or imitation of Sukadeva. The original Sukadeva was a lifelong brahmachari. Now we can understand the Sukadeva Goswami and duplicate Sukadeva Goswami. So, original Sukadeva Goswami was in the womb 12 years. Only after Supreme Lord has given as assurance, he didn't take the assurance from Vyasadeva. He want directly take the assurance from Supreme Lord. Then only he took it. Now, from Diti's, I was explaining. I didn't get time, so now we'll describe that more detail. Padma Puran is explaining. Bhishma requesting sage Pulasya and Padma to describe how all these Marut Ganas came into existence. Pulasya replied, all the sons and grandsons of Diti had perished in the battle fought between the deities and demons. Diti, the mother of Daityas, demons, wanted to take revenge. So she started doing a penance at the bank of river Saraswati, which lasted for 100 years. Being pleased by her austere penance, sage Kashyapa arrived and expressed his desire to bless her with a boon. Diti wanted a mighty son who could kill Indra. Sage Kashyapa then implanted his sperms in Diti's womb and instructed her to remain there, where she had been doing penance for 100 years. See, so this is the second example of Diti kept in the womb 100 years. He also instructed her on various do's and don'ts, which a pregnant woman is expected to observe. Diti agreed to follow his instructions. Meanwhile, Indra got wind of her pregnancy and became scared. He wanted to destroy the fetus at any cost, so he arrived at the place where Diti was staying. He had disguised himself to avoid being recognized by Diti. He engaged himself in her servitude, waiting for an opportunity moment to destroy the fetus. This way, 99 years had passed, and only 3 days were remaining after which Diti was expected to give birth to a son. You see that 100 years, only 3 days left out of 100 years. Then Indra, what did he do? As the inevitable day approached nearer, Indra started becoming restless. One day, Diti was very tired and fell down asleep. Her hair was untied and her head had stooped down while she was sleeping, just opposite to the instructions of Kashyapa had given to her. Finding the moment opportune, Indra entered into Diti's womb and cut the fetus into 7 pieces with his vajra. The 7 fragments of fetus instantaneously got transformed into 7 infants and started wailing. Indra became furious and once again he attacked them with his vajra and severed them into 7 pieces each. But to Indra's sheer amazement, there were 49 infants, all wailing loudly. He tried to stop them from crying by shouting, Marut, don't cry. Marut Ganas, why? Because Marut means don't cry. But to no avail. Indra realized that the infants had attained immortality on account of the Purnamasi Vrata. And this is the 1 year Vrata given by Kashyap Muni to Mother Diti to perform, to follow through the whole ritual without any break, without any adulteration, which Diti had devotedly observed during the course of her penance. Indra named the infants as Marut Ganas and blessed them. He then begged for Diti's forgiveness and took her along with Marut Ganas to heaven. The Marut Ganas, despite being born in the clans of demons, never associated with them and hence were revered even by the deities. Now you can understand the how Diti, this is the second time Marudganas were born. Kept on the womb 100 years. Now, let's hear from even from Brahmanda Purana about how this Hiranyakashipu name was given, the history behind it. This is in chapter 5 of Brahmanda Purana, Narasimha incarnation and race of Hiranyakashipu, where sages are requesting to Sota Goswami. Please explain to us in detail the origin and death of Daityas, Danavas, Gandharvas, serpents, Rakshasas, cobras, ghosts, vampires, and Vasus, birds, and creepers. On being asked, Suta replied to the exalted, excellent sage. Suta said, two sons and a very powerful daughter were born to Diti. These two sons of Kashyapa are remembered as the eldest of all. On the day of Sautya, that is the day on which the juice of Soma is to be extracted. When the sacrifice of Atiratra was to be performed, Kashyapa was seated in a separate seat well known as Hiranyakashipu. At the time of Ashwamedha, horse sacrifice, the sun came out of Diti's Garbha womb and sat near Kasyapa's golden seat in different places all around. Due to this activity, he is remembered as Hiranyakashipu. You see that there are five places. Um, this plate, especially, is a golden place. That's why he's called Hiranyakashipu because he is born and he came out and sat on that throne, Kasyapa's golden seat. That's why he's called. The sages said, "Oh, Holy Lord, narrate in detail the name, nativity, and prowess of the noble souled Daitya Hiranyakashipu." In the holy place, and Sota Goswami speaking. In the holy place of pilgrimage named Pushkara, Kasyapa performed a horse sacrifice. It has been adorned by their presence by the sages Devas and Gandharvas. When the horse was duly let loose for roaming about, when the rites of Akhyana, narration, etc., were to be duly performed, five golden seats were kept ready. Three of them were Kulaspadhani, the basic elements of his family, two, and other two were Kurcha, bundle of Durba grass, and Falaka, wooden plank. Among these four, one was set apart for the chief Ritvik. A seat made of gold was separately kept ready for the uh, Hota. That whom the newly born child occupied that gold chair meant for Hota. He recited the narration, Akyana. Seeing this, the sages gave him additional name. He was remembered as Hiranyakashipu on account of that activity. You see, that's why Hiranyakashipu has been given because he has occupied this golden throne which was kept for this horse sacrifice which Kashyap Muni has performed. We can understand the importance. Now, so the important instruction, as I mentioned, how much we have to hear with attention. Tasmat sarvatmana rajan hari sarvatra sarvada srotavyascha kirtitavyascha smartavyascha bhagavan runam. 2:36, Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse number 36. Here. Lord Brahma, so Uday Goswami explained to King Parikshit, O king, it is therefore essential that every human being hear about, glorify, and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead always and everywhere. And there, in that important line I mentioned, that all method, out of all the nine different methods of devotion service, first one, namely hearing, is the most important function in the process of Bhakti Yoga. Without hearing sufficiently and properly, no one can make any progress by any of the methods of practice. And for hearing only, all the Vedic literatures are there, compiled by authorized persons like Vyasadeva, who is the powerful incarnation of Godhead. And since it has been ascertained that the Lord is the super soul of everything, he should therefore be heard and glorified everywhere and always. That is the special duty of human being. Further, Prabhupada elaborates. When the human being gives up the process of hearing about the all-pervading personality of Godhead, he becomes victim to hearing rubbish transmitted by man-made machines. Machinery is not bad because through the machine one can take advantage of hearing about the Lord. But because the machinery is used for ulterior purpose, it is creating rapid degradation in the standard of human civilization. It is said here that incumbent upon human beings to hear because the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are made for that purpose. Living beings other than human beings have no ability to hear such Vedic literature. If human society gives itself to the process of hearing Vedic literature, it will not become a victim to the impious sounds vibrated by impious men who degrade the standards of the total society. Hearing is solidified by the process of chanting. One who has perfectly heard from the perfect source becomes convinced about the all pervading personality of God and thus becomes enthusiastic in glorifying the Lord. All the great acharyas like Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Saraswati, Thakur, and or even in other countries, Muhammad, Christ, and others have all extensively glorified the Lord by chanting always and in every place. Because the Lord is all pervading, it is essential to glorify Him always and everywhere. In the process of glorifying the Lord, there should be no restriction of time and space. This is called Sanatana Dharma or Bhagavad Dharma. Sanatana means eternal, always and everywhere. We can understand the significance of this. So, and the association of devotees is significant, and the getting the association of especially pure devotee spiritual master and hearing from him is very very important. So, Lord Brahma himself is showing by his own example. That's why one must understand the Siddhanta, as explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Adi Leela, chapter 2, verse number 117. Siddhanta boliya chitte na kara halas. यहाँ है ते कृष्ण लाग सुदृढ़ मानस. One must understand the Siddhanta through bona fide Acharya in Sampradaya. If one doesn't have faith, then he can never develop this strong faith on Lord Krishna. So one who has fixed up in understanding Siddhanta, then only he can develop the strong faith on the Supreme Lord. Now, so the description, as I was explaining, in the 9 islands. So other than they are under the Jambu Dvipa, Canto 5, chapter 17, verse number 12, and then in chapter 16, verse number 8, 9, 10 is explained. The 8 Varshas, other than Bharat Varsha, there is total 9 Varshas. 8 Varshas are in this, other than Bharat Varsha. The 8 Varshas are the tracts of the land within the Jambu Dvipa, within the earthly planet. Human beings live 10,000 years according to earthly calculation. 5:17:12. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam. 10,000 years they live. This is an earthly planet, but it's not exactly Bharat Varsha. This is in other Varshas, other 8 Varshas, other than the earthly planet, other than the Bharat Varsha. All the inhabitants are almost like demigod. They have the bodily strength of 10,000 elephants. Indeed, their bodies are as sturdy as thunderbolts. The youthful duration of their lives is very pleasing. Both men and women enjoy union with great pleasure for a long time. After years of sensual pleasure, when a balance of 1 year of life remains, the wife conceives a child. Thus, the standard of pleasure for the residents of these heavenly regions is exactly like that of human being who lived during Treta Yuga. You see that 10,000 years they live. Even it is on the earthly planet, but not Bharat Varsha, other 8 Varshas, which are Ramyaka Varsha, Hiranyamaya Varsha, Kuru Varsha, Hari Varsha, Kimpurusha Varsha, Ketumala Varsha, Bhadrasva Varsha, so like this. Um, and we can understand this how so the living entity who goes to the heavenly planets because of pious credit will enjoy there and then come down to these 8 Varshas. So then you will come to once that is also finished, then you will come to the earthly planets. So this is explained in Canto 5, chapter 16 and 17 about these verses. Now the beautiful description of the Vaikuntha planet has been given by Lord Brahma himself, as it is explained here. This chapter is titled Kingdom or Description of Kingdom of God. Beautiful verses how the Vaikuntha planets are situated, how their dress, their colors are, the associates are. So all these are beautiful described. We chant those verses, very beautiful verses. One can contemplate and meditate. श्यामावदाता शतपत्रलोचना पिसङ्गवस्त्रा सुरुचा सुपेशसा सर्वे चतुर्बाह उन्मिषन् मणिप्रवेक निष्काभरणा सुवक्षसः. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is yellowish color, and their bodily features are very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. ब्राजिष्णुभिर्यः परितो विराजते लसद् विमाना आवलिभिर्महात्मनाम् विद्योतमानः प्रमदोत्तमा जुभिः सविद्युद् अभ्रावलिभिर्यथा नभः. The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various aeroplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These aeroplanes belong to the great Mahatmas, devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions. and all these combined together appear just like a sky decorated with both clouds and lightning. ददर्श तत्राखिल सात्वतां पतिः श्रिया पतिं यज्ञपतिं जगत्पतिं सुनन्दनन्द प्रबला अर्हणादिभिः स्वपार्षदाङ्ग्रैः परिसेवितं विभुम्. Lord Brahma saw the Vaikuntha planets, the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, is the Lord of Goddess of Fortune, the Lord of all sacrifice, Lord of the universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabala, Arhana, his immediate associates. भृत्य प्रसादाभिमुखं दृग् आसवं प्रसन्नहासारुणलोचनानं लोचनानं किरीटिनं कुण्डलिनीं चतुर्भुजं पीतां सुखं वक्षसि लक्षितं श्रिया. The personality of God had seen leaning favorably toward his loving servitors, his very sight intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and helmet on his head. So the beautiful description is there. He had 4 hands and his chest was marked with the lines of goddess of fortune. You see that earrings are mentioned in many places. Sharp-shaped earrings, different types of earrings. Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and different planets wearing. Descriptions are there from Vrindavan, Bhoma Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. So here in Padma Purana, Uttarakhand, there is a description of Yoga Peeth on a particular place where the Lord is in audience to his eternal devotees. In that Yoga Peeth, the personification of religion, knowledge, and opulence and renunciation are all seated at the lotus feet of the Lord. The 4 Vedas, namely Ruk, Sama, Yajur, Atharva Veda, are present there personally to advise the Lord. The 16 energies headed by Charana are all present there. Charana and Kumuda, Chanda and Kumuda are the first 2 doorkeepers. At the middle doors are the doorkeepers named Bhadra and Subhadra, and at last the doors are Jaya and Vijaya. The other doorkeepers are also named Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundarika, Vamana, Shanku, Karna, Sarvanetra, Sumukha, etc. The Lord's palace was well decorated and protected by the above mentioned doorkeepers. Because there are 7 doors, Jaya Vijaya being first, those Jaya Vijaya are on the 7th door. So you can imagine everything is beautifully described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Describe the Lord Jagannath's glories and description of Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan. Say as this is the special month of Lord Jagannath month, you can call it. June 14th is Lord Jagannath's appearance day, Snan Yatra, which is very, very important, very, very auspicious day. Uh, and also June 11th, New York Radha Yatra, then July 1st Friday is Puri Radha Yatra at our temple, July 2nd is the Atlantic City Radha Yatra. There's the Pani Hati festival, I think June 10th or so. So very, very important month. A lot of festivals, a lot of Lord Jagannath's Ratha Yatras and important days. Netra Unmelan on July, July from June 14th, he will go on Anavasara period, and July 1st, July I think 30th. June 30th will be the Netra Unmelan, and then July 1st is the Ratha Yatra. So we'll describe Lord Jagannath's glories, and as this chapter is titled 315, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Description of Kingdom of God. So this will be apt for that also. And we are beginning this month, June 1st, today, June 1st, 2022, 6:30 to 7. We're discussing this. So this first verse, description of Kingdom of God. This is a beautiful description. Lord Jagannath glorifying himself, Lord Jagannath glorifying Gauranga by himself. When Narada returned to the earthly planet, he noticed a decline in the religious practices of the people. They had given up the practices of charity, penances, and austerities. Neglecting all pious activities, men were using their bodies, minds, and words only to glorify their wives. Men were totally infatuated with women and sense enjoyment. Nobody cared a fig for yoga or self realization. Observing these symptoms, Narada became convinced that during his visit to Brahmaloka, the age of Kali had arrived on earth. Feeling disturbed, Narada sat down to meditate. Suddenly, he heard a divine voice in the sky. I am Lord Jagannath, the Lord of the universe, and I have appeared as Daru Brahma, form of the Lord in wood. I am residing in Nilachal, beside the sea, for the deliverance of all fallen souls. Have you forgotten the past? In order to fulfill the promise of Katyayani Devi, I have descended to distribute my Mahaprasad to everyone. Now, O best of the sages, come to Nilachal, Jagannath Puri, and obey my order. Overwhelmed with love, Narada cried out, "Oh Jaganath!" Playing his world enchanting Veena, he hastened to Nilachal. Entering the grand temple, he saw a large round lotus face of Lord Jagannath. His face was more cooling, brilliant, and beautiful than a million moons. Narada saw Lord Jagannath as supreme personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, fountainhead of all incarnation. The Lord was full of ecstasy and had an effulgent smile. Now he had appeared in a most merciful form as a worshipful deity. Falling at Lord Jagannat's feet, Narada said, "Please, Lord Jagannath, the age of Kaliya has come. Please bestow your mercy. People are bewildered, extremely degraded, and full of lamentation. Controlled by their senses, they are engaged in most gross sinful activities." Lord Jagannath smiled and touched Narada's hand and said confidently, "Narada, now you should go to Goloka, the topmost spiritual planet. Lord Gaurasundara residing there. Lakshmi and many other ladies lovingly serve Lord Hari, who is the only enjoyer. The residents are happy there. Radha and Rukmini are the principal queens. Along with their many expansions, they serve the Lord as his consorts, following in their footsteps. Hundreds and thousands of devotees also serve the Lord. Satyabhama serves the Lord with her incomparable beauty and matchless qualities. Indeed, she is the most beautiful woman in the three worlds. She is the connoisseur of the cleverness and knows the limits of rasa. Satyabhama enjoys charming pastimes encompassing the various rasa-laden arts. After worshipping Srimati Radharani, Lord expanded himself into many forms to enjoy the rasa dance in Vrindavan with hundreds of loving gopis. With one mouth, how is it possible to describe the limitless glories of this sweet pastime? In Dwaraka, all the ladies obey Rukmini Devi. Their minds are full of devotion and they are always singing of the Lord's glories. Even when they are all together with Krishna, they experience individual flavors of rasa. The four types of salvation are given by the Lord of Vaikuntha. Even fallen people in the material world may attain liberation by rendering devotion service. Only pure bhakti, however, can control the Supreme Lord. Being surrounded by Lakshmi Devi, the Lord is always rich, but is always in need of the taste of pure love. Just as sugar can't taste its own sweetness, but helps others to taste and enjoy it, similarly, with the help of the bhakti, salvation is automatically attained. Liberation impedes the natural flow of pure devotion service. You should know that Prema Bhakti Yoga far surpasses the four types of liberation. The Supreme Lord of Goloka will come to Puri as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute his mercy. As the Lord of all Lords, he will have a tall golden form. By freely giving his mercy, he will mitigate everyone's suffering. He will preach, chant, and glorify the holy names. He will distribute the bliss of pure Krishna Prema to deliver all people in Kali Yuga. Now go see him, and you will get relief from your all miseries. After hearing from Lord Jagannath, Narada Muni left Puri and travelled to Vaikuntha. While moving, Narada was thinking, I have heard many confidential talks in Srimad Bhagavatam about Mukti and Bhakti, but I have also heard about that place which is unknown, unmanifest in this world, beyond the knowledge of the Vedas. Today I will see that place manifest before my eyes. Now Narada Muni is visiting Vaikuntha. Infatuated with Krishna Prema playing his veena, the great sage moved quickly to Vaikuntha. He became even more ecstatic. Uh, he became even more ecstatic when he heard the sweet singing of the residents of Vaikuntha. Arriving at the gate, Narada praised Lord Vishnu with most auspicious prayers. The Lord of Vaikuntha was sitting on a jeweled surrounded by his eternal associates. Narada Muni fell at the Lord's feet in respectful submission. Immediately the Lord picked him up and embraced him. Laughing and smiling, the Lord said, Narada, please reveal your mind to me. Immediately tell me the secrets of your heart. I am eager to fulfill your desire. I will easily reveal to you whatever you can't understand. With folded hands and a humble heart, Narada replied, My Lord Narayana, you are the super soul of all living entities. Since you already know everything, what more can I say? In your Dar Brahma form as Lord Jagannath, you told me about a wonderful form of yours. Now I want to see that form. Then Lord Narayana, the jewel mine of all transcendental qualities, said, That form is my original form, replete with many different energies. Standing like a shadow, they serve him in his unlimited number of incarnations. I am all pervading and within everything. Lakshmi Devi and the four muktis, forms of salvation, follow me. I am the wealth of Lakshmi Devi. Narada, this Vaikuntha planet which you have come to is an expansion of the original topmost spiritual planet called Goloka, Vrindavan. The four types of mukti act here like shadow, covering the brilliant reality of bhakti. In Golok Vrindavan, however, there is nothing but spontaneous pure devotion service. Srimati Radharani is the original energy, the very embodiment of prema. She alone controls Sri Krishna, the supreme enjoyer. Their abode is called Mahavaikuntha, the topmost planet among the Vaikunthas. Three-fourths of the Lord's energy is found in the spiritual world. I can definitely say that Gaur Hari is beyond the touch of Maya. He is the desirely full of compassion. O great sage Narada, go to his abode and take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Siksha Guru for the whole world. Narada sees Gauranga now in Goloka. Narada moved toward Goloka, playing his veena and singing the glories of Hari. Overwhelmed with ecstasy, his body showed various symptoms of transcendental love, like horripilation. One moment he would run, calling out Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. The next moment he would stagger a few steps, turn his head around for no reason, then run forward rapidly. Suddenly, a soothing Vaikuntha breeze flowed over him, and in the distance he saw a wonderful effulgence more cooling than a million moons. Narada's senses became inert when he smelled the sweet fragrance of the Lord's lotus feet. Narada saw that the residents of Goloka were in a joyful mood. The thousands of cupids surrounded the Lord, waiting to serve him. Their bodily features were very attractive. Their talking was shower of nectar singing. Their walking was full of dancing and dramatic gestures. They seemed completely satisfied by an inner bliss created from pure love of God. Kalpavruksha trees and Kamadhenu Surabhi cows dotted the landscape. Seeing some flowering vines, Narada remembered Uddhava's desiring to take birth as a creeper in Vrindavana. Soon Narada came to an attractive private grove in the inner portion of Goloka. There he saw the golden form of Krishna, Gaurang Mahaprabhu, sitting upon an ornately decorated brilliant golden throne. The throne was placed on a jewel-studded platform under an incredibly beautiful desire tree. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, his gentle face adorned with an ecstatic smile, sat there peacefully. His form was more nectarian and beautiful than the sweetness of honey. A mango twig resting atop a covered water pot sat beside the throne. Gauranga Raya's left toe was touching the water pot. The grove was illuminated by a bejeweled lamp shining like the sun. Radhika and her Gopi friends, representing the energies of Vrindavana, holding jeweled water pots, stood on the Lord's right side. On the left side, representing energies of Dwaraka were Rukmini and her followers, holding the golden water containing jeweled water. Nagnajiti gave a full pot of water to Mitravinda, who in turn gave it to Sulakshana. She gave it to Rukmini, who then used that celestial Ganga water to bathe Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Tilottama, one of Indra's Apsaras, filled another water pot, passed it to Madhupriya, who gave it to Chandramukhi. She gave it to Radhika, Roy, Radharani, who poured water on Gauranga's head in Abhishek. Satyavama gave celestial scent, dresses, garlands, and ornaments to Lakshmana, Subhadra, and Bhadra, with golden water pots full of celestial Ganga. Water soaked in jewels, everyone bathed transcendental form of Lord Chaitanya. From all four directions, celestial ladies came with wonderful clothes, jewels, and ornaments for the Lord. The best minstrels stood near Lord Gauraraya, praising him with select prayers. According to the Veda, the best meditation is always to remember the Abhishek of the Lord of Goloka. The beautiful body of Mahaprabhu shone like molten gold. His two arms were long and graceful. He was being worshipped by devotees chanting the four-syllable mantra. The same form appears with four arms in Vaikuntha. There his body is the color of a newly formed rain cloud. And he holds the four symbols of Vishnu in his forehands, Chakra, Padma, Shankar, Gada. Upon seeing Gauranga, the great sage became overwhelmed with divine love. He fell upon the Lord's feet and bathed him with his tears. Smiling, the Lord picked up Narada and put him on his lap. At that time, Narada said, "Oh, my Lord, you are very dear to me. You have destroyed all my pains and miseries. My dear Mahaprabhu, I have never seen such an amazing things. Now my life is perfect. Never before I have seen such nectarian beauty compressed in one palm. Even my father Brahma can't understand you. You are completely indescribable. Some say you are the supreme effulgence. Others say your existence defies definition. There is no example to describe your effulgent aspect. Some say that you are the topmost supreme personality. No amount of speculation can measure you. One can't get liberation even if he knows all about you. Your all pervading energy. In this way, your transcendental pastime defy comprehension. Ananta, with thousands of mouths, can't reach the end of your transcendental qualities. Although he is trying, he can't properly glorify you. By your mercy, I saw your form as Lord Gauranga, which was impossible for me to perceive otherwise. Yogis and Sankhyas believe the path of bhakti is the gross way to approach the Supreme. They say only through mysticism and meditation can one realize transcendence. Nevertheless, the devotees are resolute in their consciousness. They simply fix their minds on the lotus feet of the Lord and worship Him with undivided attention. According to the Vedas, some follow the path of Varnashrama and some Munis, without understanding the Vedas, try to present the conclusion of Vedanta. Why do different philosophers present conflicting views? Some stubbornly insist that absolute truth is non-differentiated oneness. I fully understand that you are the beyond the reach of knowledge, guesswork, or speculation. Please give me the mercy of a lotus feet. I feel great anguish. May Lord just let me die and be reborn so that I can attain prema bhakti and lead a life of Krishna consciousness. After hearing Narada Muni's appeal, Lord Gauranga smiled and said, Narada, king of sages, just come with me. Let us go to Navadvip and we will deliver the people of Kali Yuga by preaching my pure devotional service. I reside in Svetadvip along with my elder brother Balaram, whose expansion is Ananta. He is served by Lord Shiva and the 11 Rudras. Balarama, in his expanded form as Kshiroda Sai Vishnu and his wife Revati, are now sporting in the ocean of milk. He arranges for the incarnation to first enter the material world. Narada, go quickly to Swetadeep and ask the Lord to take the name of Nityananda and appear on earth with his eternal associates. Narada Muni, feeling blissful, satisfied in his heart to hear from Lord Gauranga, chanted Haribol, Haribol. So in this way, so this is described in Chaitanya Mangal by Sri Lochan Das Thakur, exalted personality of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personality associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you. So, Hare Krishna. In this verse, Canto 3, Chapter 15, verse number 1, we are discussing, because of the less time, we couldn't discuss the last line, last word. Sankamana Surardhanat. Maitreya Vacha Prajapatyam tu tatteja paratejo hanam ditihi dadara varsani satam sankamana Surardhanat. Actually giving trouble. Surardhanam disturbing. Ardhana, Janardhana. One who relieves the distress from the devotees. Surardhanat. So Diti was thinking, my sons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, are going to be born because of the inauspicious time, union. So she was very much hesitant to give that disturbance. So she bore the pregnancy for 100 years. So a very important lesson. A great example is Kaliya. Kaliya pastime is a great example. So many lessons and its previous life of Kaliya, and there are so many questions have been answered by various acharyas. A huge pastime. Uh, so we'll try to understand and describe and take the lessons from it. So first we will describe the pastime of the previous life of Kaliya, and then we will try to understand what Kaliya represents, what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur gives, says about it, and then we'll try to get the answers to some of the questions why Lord Balram is not there and etc. So let's see here first the Kaliya's previous pastime, previous life. So this is explained in a few places, Vaivarta Puran and Garga Samhita and other places. So during Swayambhu Manu's time, there was a sage named Vedasira Muni. So he used to perform austerities in Vindhya Hills. This Vindhya Hills is mentioned in demigod heavenly planets in Srimad Bhagavatam in many places. So one day Asvasira Muni came to perform austerities at this place, and then with his and then at that time there was also another Muni, Asvasira Muni, came to perform austerities at that where Vedasira Muni was performing, he was doing his bhajan. So then by seeing this Asvasira Muni, Vedasira Muni, immediately his eyes became red and he spoke very angrily. Oh Brahmana, don't perform austerities in my ashram. Oh sage, whose wealth is austerity, is there no place where you can perform austerities? Then Asvasira Muni became angry at why unnecessarily became so angry and immediately saying all this, because it is Vindhya Hills is a place for everybody. It's not, he didn't sign a, this land belongs to me or something. So Asvasira Muni became angry and then he immediately told, oh, best among the sages, this place belongs to Mahavishnu. It doesn't belong to you or me. Have not many sages, great sages performed austerities here? You're angry for no reason. You hiss like a snake. And you become a snake. So you'll be terrified of Garuda. So this is because of this curse, Kaliya, uh, in the previous life. So Vedasira, previous life was Vedasira sage. Because of curse from Asvasira, unnecessarily criticizing, unnecessarily angry at Asvasira Muni, who just came to perform his bhajan. You could have allowed it. So this is what the enviousness, malice against another devotees. So giving disturbance to the devotees, giving disturbance to any living entity. So that is the main lesson in this verse also, as Diti was thinking, these my sons are going to be great disturbance to the demigods. So that is the lesson we are going to learn from Kaliya here. So Asvisira cursed Vedasira Muni to be a snake, because that is the mentality of a snake, and he will be terrified of Garuda. And then, so as this happened, then also Vedasira Muni is not going to take it. So he immediately said, for slight offense, you plot great revenge. You are like a crow. So because crow always goes to the garbage, place of garbage, and picks up the garbage. So become a crow. So Vedasira Muni cursed back. Asvisara Muni also, you become a crow. Now Vishnu, Lord Vishnu himself appeared there, consoled both sages. Both were unhappy with their curses. So Lord Vishnu told, you both equally devoted to me. You are like two arms on my body. O king of the sages, I can make my words false, but not those of my devotees. This is my vow. So I'll place my footprints on your head. Oh, where the ceremony? That is Kaliya. So that's why in Kaliya pastime, Lord placed footprints. That is one of the reasons. Because of this, you will never fear Garuda. And then he's speaking to now Asvisara Muni. Hear my word, don't lament. You will have the form of a cow, but you will have a transcendental knowledge. Yeah, you will have yoga siddhis, the highest of knowledge, of past, present, future. So Asvisara Muni became Bhushanda, crow. Crow name is Bhushanda. This we see in Ramayana. Bhushanda on Mount Nila, he stays, and devoted to Lord Ramachandra. Very powerful crow. So he knows all the knowledge of scriptures, because that's the Lord's blessing. Lamp shining on the meanings of all scriptures. Recited Ramayana to Garuda. So that was his blessings. So later on, that's how, because of the curse of Asvisara Muni to Vedasira, Vedasira born as a Kaliya. During Chakshusha Manvanta, Prajapat Daksha gave beautiful daughters to marriage to Kashyap Muni. Kadru was one of them. So Kadru gave birth to many snakes. Some are 1,000 headed, some are 500 headed. So there's one of them is also Kaliya snake. So that is that's how we know the previous life, why this has happened. Now let's understand the reason for the what exactly Kaliya represents. Kaliya represents um, cruelty and malice. So brutal cruelty, maliceness, pride, and envy, snake-like crookedness. He particularly tries to pour his poison into the hearts of innocent Vaishnavas, which Krishna cannot tolerate. So that's why Lord personally came to give chastisement, as per almost like killing, but he didn't kill. There are various reasons. We'll go cover that. Now, so that is the Kaliya represents. Now, let's understand more from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Goswami Prabhupada, the Lion Guru, is the spiritual master of our founder Acharya, is Divine Gesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, let's see what he says. Kaliya is the type of cunning and malice. He is the embodiment of unrelenting cruelty. There is no place for Kaliya in the happy realm of Braja. Deceit and cruelty are as poison to the artless loving nature of the denizens of Braja. It is quite conceivable for the confidential friends of Krishna not to entertain any suspicion regarding the malicious intention of cruel and deceitful persons whose purpose is to poison them against Krishna. They may even unwillingly fall into the counsel of such evil persons, but Krishna is sure to rescue his own uh, from the wiles of his enemies. Nay, Krishna has also a plan for curing the evil propensity of Kaliya himself. The process consists in making him feel the touches of his dancing feet, but Kaliya attempts to bear up against all curative chastisement. Instead of feeling the joy of supporting the feet of Krishna on his nasty hoods, the monster finds it impossible to bear his good fortune without undergoing the pangs of actual death. Even the loyal wives of Kali who desire the reformation of the monster, whose good wishes for his well-being are the cause of Krishna's mercy toward him, are at last forced to intercede by a prayer for his banishment from the realm of Braja. But the pride of Kaliya had received a mortal check, because the pride is there. So that's why many reasons are there. We will be covering that. So Lord Vishnu generally kills all the demons in Brajalila. Lord Krishna doesn't kill. his expansion, Lord Krishna, Dwarka, Vasudev Krishna, not the Vrindavan Krishna doesn't kill. So now further it is mentioned here the banishment of Kaliya. So, but for Kaliya, Lord Krishna directly. Why so that we will see further. The banishment of Kaliya from the lake of Yamuna has a most important spiritual significance. Those who have a purpose to create a trouble against the pure devotees of Krishna by infecting the devotees with their own malicious disposition meet with a certain degree of initial success in their nefarious undertaking. This emboldens them to make a direct attack upon Krishna himself. When he appears on the scene of their depraved activities in order to restore the living faith of his own bona fide associates, those who are not exceedingly clever can never be the servants of Sri Krishna. But the service of Krishna is also never available to those whose cunning is employed for depriving Krishna of the fullness of his enjoyment. Kaliya and those who are actuated by naturally malicious disposition are also styled clever in ordinary phraseology of this damned world. Such rascals may also have the impudence of taking their stand upon the texts of the scriptures and using their cunningness in the graceless attempt of depriving Krishna of the service of his own. This kind of conduct may also pass undetected and may even be regarded as possessing the perfect skill of confidential service. But Krishna is sure to expose the real nature of the villain just at the moment when it has been successful in misleading his best loved ones. It is indeed very difficult to understand the ways of Krishna. Krishna apparently permits almost every form of offense to be perpetrated with impunity against his own beloved ones. This has the effect of providing an opportunity to his own for proving their incomparable love for him, and by the means of this unique exhibition of their love to defeat in the most fruitful manner the machinations of his worst enemies. The friends of Krishna are offered to the malice of cunning and relentless brutes in order to bring out the difference between the two and thereby enable the latter to desist from troubling the devotees of their own accord. But these brutes are never allowed to associate with servants of Krishna even after they forego all their malice towards them. They are eternally debarred from the service of Krishna and Braja. But the touch of Krishna makes a real difference between the recipient of his mercy and other brutes. Kaliya is no longer regarded by Garuda as the enemy of Krishna. Kaliya is therefore allowed a place among those who are protected by Krishna. It does not follow that it is a praying business to poison the hearts of his servants against Krishna, which is sure to be granted with the reward of his protection. Yes, this is so after the pride of the miscreant is thoroughly broken by being trod upon by Krishna himself. He is thereby inspired with a most wholesome dread, which effectively prevents him from trying to breed mischief among the bona fide devotees by owing an unwilling allegiance to Krishna and assuming the badge of his servitude by wearing on his head the print of his lotus feet. The mercy shown to Kaliya is so obviously and disproportionately great in its magnitude in the face of extreme gravity of his offense that no rationalistic explanation can do justice to its full beneficent significance. So now we'll try to understand the also the various other aspects of it so that we can understand this Pastime further. Many questions might have come why Lord Balram is absent. So many things. Beautiful description of even Lord is because of offering of Nagapatni's prayers, wives of Kaliya. Lord was showed mercy to Kaliya. So that also we'll see from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Now let's get some of the questions answered because Lord Balram was not present during why. Lord Balram is prominent here by first being absent and then holding the Vrajavasis back, not allowing them to jump into Kaliya, Hriday. It is also called this place where it is next to Yamuna, very close to Yamuna, not exactly within the Yamuna. This is close to Yamuna. So it is called Kaliya Hriday. Kaliya means blackness and Hriday means heart. So Kaliya personifies malice and criticism, and then so that's why we should avoid criticism. That's what I said in the beginning. Sandeha and Samalochana. Don't be doubtful of Shastra, Sadhu and Guru and Samalochana. Don't try to use negative, think of negative ways, think of negatively of the devotee, especially don't criticize devotees, don't try to find faults with devotees. So That's what, especially criticize devotees or discuss negative things among others. This as the main topic, which is a big no-no. So that's why here we can see Vishwanath Thakur says it is a very special pastime. In Vrajalila, Krishna does not kill any demons personally. It is Vishnu expansion. But in this particular case, according to Raghav Pandit, it is Krishna himself who does it. Because as Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's and Sarada Darshini, this is where the gopis Purvrag manifests. When Krishna began to play, all the Gandharvas, demigods came to play in accompaniment. Kaliya had 100 prominent hoods out of total 1,000. Whenever he tried to rise one, Krishna would jump on it. Sanatana Goswami says that Krishna danced excessively to create good fortune for Kaliya. In Brihad Vaishnava Tosani, Sri Sanatana Goswami comments like no other Acharya comment. He says that Krishna stayed for one muhurta in the coils to release the embrace. Kaliya's bites were kisses. Kaliya's blood, etc., were ecstatic symptoms. Before the Nagapatnis were saying, let this demon, our husband, die. But when they have noticed some bhakti sprouting in him, regret and humility, the Nagapatnis were happy. Even we see that Diti was also regretting for the inauspicious time union. And so Kashyap Muni, that's why granted. Okay, don't worry, Prahlad Maharaj is going to go on, glorified Prahlad Maharaj. So similar pastime here. The Nagapatnis were happy. Our husband is becoming a devotee. How wonderful. We should try to save him. Sri Sanatana Goswami says that Krishna snatched the uttariyas, upper clothes of the Nagapatnis, made them into a rope, and pierced the nose of Kaliya, riding him like a horse, with his left hand playing on his Vamsi flute. So here Kaliya gets more mercy even than Garuda, who carries Lord Vishnu. That pastime is also there, you will see. Kali also becomes a carrier of Lord, like Garuda. We'll see that. Nagapatnis have started bringing ornaments and jewels, and Krishna started decorating the gopis. Then Krishna went down on the bank, and here Lord Balarama brought all the Vrajavasis to their senses. See, Krishna is here, he is here. They all drenched him in their tears. So now the question we can understand why Balram was not there, why Kali was not killed. How Vaishnava ladies agreed to marry such a non-devotee rascal, Kaliya. How could Kaliya get Krishna's footprints on his head? Garuda is not small. How could Kaliya survive a fight with him? How could Kaliya enter Vrindavan? So why Balram was late to the lake? Why did Balram stay back? And everybody was rushing to Kaliya Hruda, used all his strength to convince Rohini to stay. Why precisely her? So now let's understand that. So in the rare book Haribhakta Prakash, Raghav Pandit is answering many of these. In Sanatana Goswami gives a very unusual explanations. We see some confirming Garga Samhita and Brahma Vaivartana. Garga Samhita and Brahma Vaivartana Purana give many description of Radha Krishna Leela. So Radharani there kills the demons and manifests other forms of Aishwarya. Aishwarya Priti Sankuchita. Opulence makes loving sentiment shrunken. But we can see that some of the Sanatana Goswami's comments may contain some of these. So in Brahma Vaivarta Purana 4.19, Kaliya says, संप्राप्य मनो ब्रह्मन् अनंता एव हि तावत् त्वद् भवनेनैव त्वद्वर्गो अहम् अनुग्रहात्. O Lord, I attained your mantra from Lord Anantasesh. Since then I have always meditated on you. Now by your mercy I have become part of your family. So this answer first, why those ladies married him. He might have been a mixed devotee, Sakama Bhakta. But maybe some of us are also mixed. It also answers why Krishna didn't kill him, why he got footmarks on his head, and how he could enter Vrindavan. Because he is praying to Lord Balram. So by Lord Balram's mercy, anything can happen. So he is also snakes, because that also we'll see later on how Rohini is related. I heard one place also that Kali is also coming in the line of Prahlad Maharaj. That's why Lord Krishna didn't kill him. That also I heard. Which Purana I don't know. So many reasons we can see. So also it says Subala, the chief queen of Kaliya, was accepted by Krishna like his daughter, and Kaliya has son-in-law. And someplace else it mentioned. Now, why Balram did not come on the day of the pastimes? All the literature mentions. In one place it says that it was Balram's birthday, but there must be more. Balram is Adi Guru and is very merciful. He even accepted Duryodhana. My Guru was so mercifully accepted. Balram is known sometimes as Anantasesh. So one of his disciples was Duryodhana, another one was Kaliya. So that's why. If he could not tolerate to go to Kurukshetra, he would also be reluctant to go to the Kaliya Daman Leela. So that's why Lord Balram was hesitant to go to Kaliya Leela. Kaliya wasn't killed. He was a Sakama Bhakta. He has no place in Vrindavan. Malice has no place in pure bhakti. So that's why these things happen. We can see another reason why he could not stay in Vrindavan, in that Kaliya did not take shelter of in any of the Vrajvasis. So how could Kaliya survive fighting for a whole muhurta with Garuda? Baladev Vidyabhushan or another Acharya says, whole time Kaliya was fighting with Garuda. In his mind, Kaliya was chanting the name of Krishna and meditating on him in fear, basically. Yeah. If Kaliya was so powerful by the holy name, why would he not defeat Garuda? Kaliya answered that himself. I was Bhaktam Apakvam, immature, unripe devotee. Why was Kaliya able to live in the Yamuna for so many years? Um, answer is he chanted Krishna's names as revealed. So and also in Garga Samhita. So it says one meditate on a devotee for a long time, one becomes purified. Kaliya meditated in fear of Garuda for a long time. That is why Krishna chastised Kaliya personally, and not through his Vishnu's expansion, because the idolatry Lord Balram showed. So yeah. Yeah, but now why did Lord Balram use all his strength to convince Rohini to stay back? Why precisely her? Gargasamhita mentions that in the previous birth, Rohini was Kaliya's mother. So you can see, Rohini was, in previous birth, Rohini was Kaliya's mother. You can understand so many reasons why this pastime is significant. Now, so another beautiful, in the last three verses of that chapter of Kaliya, three beautiful verses where how Lord reciprocated again. Divyambarasran manivi parardhyairapi bhushanaihi divya gandhanulepaischa महत्यो उत्पल मालया पूजा इत्वा जगन्नाथम प्रासाद्य गरुड़ध्वजम ततः प्रीतो अभ्य अनुज्ञातः परिक्रम्या अभिवन्द्यतं स कलत्र सुहृत्पुत्रो द्वीपं मधे अब्धेर्जगामः तदैव सामृतजला यमुना निर्विषाभवत् अनुग्रहात् भगवतः क्रीडा मानुष रूपिणः. This is 10th canto, chapter 16, verse number 65 to 67. Kaliya worshipped the Lord of the universe by offering him fine garments along with necklaces, jewels, and other valuable ornaments, wonderful scents. This is after he came back to his senses. Nagapatnis prayed, so Lord gave him mercy and relieved him. Otherwise he was unconscious, almost dead. Then he brought to consciousness by the prayers. Lord Krishna showed the mercy on various reasons we discussed. Lord, and then he's offering all this. And large garland of lotus flowers, having thus pleased the Lord, whose flag is marked with emblem of Garuda, Kaliya felt satisfied. Receiving Lord's permission to leave, Kaliya circumambulated him and offered him obeisance. Then taking his wife's friend and children, he went to his island in the sea. The very moment Kaliya left, the Yamuna was immediately restored to her original condition, free from poison and full of nectarians. This happened by the mercy of Supreme Personality Godhead, who was manifesting a human-like form to enjoy his pastimes. So now, so now we can see. So in Sarartha Darshani, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving beautiful comment here, beautiful narration. In verse 62, Krishna said that one can become sinless by worshipping and remembering the Lord. Therefore, Kaliya now begins to worship Sri Krishna. Kaliya said, although I am the most sinful, you gave me the most mercy. You have not put your foot on others' heads and marked them with your disc and conch. With great respect, I, along with my wives, will offer you cooling sandalwood pulp from my hand, because your body was burned by the poison from my fangs. Krishna replied, but applying those ointments will take time. Now Kaliya said, then please sit, my lord. After making Krishna sit down, Kaliya and his wives applied sandalwood to the Lord's body, fulfilling their heart's desire. Kaliya and his wives attained the mercy of the Lord, and then he left the Yamuna. This is described in 2.5 verses. Now, the Kaustava Jam Manibihi, as described in these verses, which adorned Krishna's neck from his birth, was lost in the coils of Kaliya in order to create excitement in his human pastimes of fighting and struggling with Kaliya. Without anyone's notice, Krishna made his Kaustava Jam enter Kaliya's treasury. Then, at the time of worshipping Krishna with different jewels and ornaments, the Nagapatnis, unaware of Krishna's transcendental trick, offered the Kaustubha gem to him, thinking it was just one of their own jewels, Manibihi. This is described in Sri Radha Krishna Gondodesi Deepika by Sri Rupa Goswami as follows. Kaustubhakyo manir ena pravishya hradam anuragam kaliya preyasi vrinda hashair atma upaharitaha. The Lord has made his Kaustubha jewel enter the serpent's lake, then he arranged for it to be presented to himself by the hands of Kaliya's wives. You can see. Further is mentioning the Lord has made, yeah, being pleased with Kaliya, Krishna, whose flag is marked with emblem of Garuda Dwaja, placed his lotus hand on Kaliya's head and removed all his pain. Now see the further point, what Kaliya says. Kaliya said, O one who rides on Garuda, now I am the servant of my older brother Garuda. If by chance Garuda is not present to carry you, then just remember me as your personal carrier. I am the servant of your servant, and in the wink of an eye, I will instantly appear from millions of yojanas away. This is the implication of the use of the word Garuda Dvajam. The Purana states that in different kalpa, when Kamsa orders Krishna to come to Madura for a wrestling match, the Lord sometimes goes there sitting on Kaliya. The phrase Krida Manusha Rupina means that Krishna eternally manifests a human-like body for relishing playful pastimes. By Krishna's touch, the Yamuna became free of poison and filled with nectar. So in this way, we can understand the last line. So there are many other pastimes related to this. Lord Jaganath's pastimes. We'll discuss in some other class. It's already, it became a very long class. Thank you very much. Krishna Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shukopad ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.